Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I will be finally talking about the much awaited video, how to edit your YouTube videos like a pro. And in today's video I will be discussing how I edit my videos. Now if you have watched any of my vlogs, which mostly my channel is comprised of, you notice my editing style, and I like to do cinematography type of videos. I want to pull you in and make you feel like you're watching a movie or an episode on like Stars or something like that. So I pretty much steered away from the documentary style of vlogging, and then now I do more cinematic style editing. So I do edit my own videos, and in today's video I am going to be telling you guys and showing you guys the tips, the tricks, the plugins, music, drone footage. We're going to be talking about cameras, settings, all of that on how I get my videos to look the way they look. So if this video is something that you have been waiting for, something that you are interested in, if you are looking to get on YouTube and start YouTube vlogging, then this video is for you. So if you know anything about these different platforms like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, then you know that YouTube is probably one of the hardest platforms to grow on, specifically when it comes to vlogging, because you have to create entertainment for your audience to convince them to watch your life, right? So in a sense, that's the reason why I wanted to walk away from the documentary style of vlogging and bring in more cinematic episodes to keep my audience entertained and build that watch time up. Because I mean, if you can get your audience to watch 50% of an hour-long video, then you are doing amazing. Okay, amazing, because that's like unheard of. A lot of really successful content creators on YouTube upload short form content. Short form content generally gets in the range from 2 to 3 minute watch time, because YouTube understands and short form content is for people with ADD, and most people have an attention deficit disorder. So the average person can only view and stay attentive to something for roughly 2 to 3 minutes. So that's why short form content has skyrocketed, and you see Instagram Reels, you see TikToks, because long form content is very, very hard to be successful in. But there are tips, there are tricks, and I'm going to teach you guys how to get into long form content and get that watch time that you want so you can be successful on YouTube. And how do you do it? It's by editing like a pro. No, you do not need to spend a lot of money for an editor. You can do it yourself, sis. You can. And I'm going to teach you some of my tips and tricks, not all of them now, because listen, I got to keep something for myself now. So it's not gatekeeping in a sense. It's you just want your editing style to be unique. You want your viewers to experience something different when they watch your videos, because a lot of people are doing the same thing on YouTube in a sense. Like a lot of people are vlogging their lives. So when it comes to your editing style, you want it to be unique, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and get to work. Now, before anything, you need to be comfortable. Now, I don't know what time you like to edit, but typically I'm a midday morning type of girl, because 9 times out of 10 when I edit, I'm editing for the video to go up and live that day. I edit the day of and I go live the day of most days. Now, it's very rare, but some days I might edit the night before and it go live the next day. But most days I edit in real time and the video goes live that day. So I get up early in the morning as if I was getting ready to go to work, 9 to 5. I sit at my desk and I edit however many hours of footage I have, whether it's 5, 6, 3. Most days it's like 3 to 4. Lately it's been 3 to 4. But in the past it's been, you know, shit, I've had 2 SD cards worth of footage. So they could be like anywhere from 5 to 6 hours. I would edit till about 1, 2 o'clock. I always upload my videos in 4K, so that roughly has me ready to go live around 5. So my deadline to be done editing is by 2 p.m. to be able to have the video finished, uploaded, and processed by 5 p.m. because that is my preferred go live time. That's when everybody's off work, winding down, getting ready to cook. So it's just a very good time to like see really good numbers as far as your analytics go, right? So you want to wear something comfortable when you're editing. Now I got cute for y'all today. I have on a Gym Girl Aero bodysuit and some cozy socks with my knockoff Uggs that I got from Shein for $8. Hey, today I got cute, but most days I'm in a bonnet and pajamas because either I would have just gotten out of bed or I'm about to get in bed right after I'm done editing. So I like to be comfortable most times in something sweat absorbent because I don't know why. It's like I just ran a freaking marathon when I'm editing, but the way I sweat when I'm editing, I don't know what it is, but like most times I have to take a shower after I'm done editing. I'm like, what? But yeah, so make sure you wear something comfortable and sweat absorbent. Second, you want to make sure you're always hydrating, okay? So get you some bottled water and get you some snacks. Now I got fruit here. Listen, these right here. I got some snacks, I got Doritos, but if you want to opt in for something healthy, I highly recommend Factor meals, and I want to thank Factor for sponsoring today's video. I am giving very much backpack, looking like Dora, but I'm sitting here in my PJs editing a vlog that's gonna go up a little later today, and I'm having a Factor meal. Y'all know I talk about these all the time because Factor, when I tell you, come through with a clutch each and every time for me, whether it's meal prep, late at night snack, or when I'm sitting at the computer editing. Sometimes I'll be at my computer editing for hours and won't eat. This is basically how I factor in my day-to-day activities because I need to make sure that I stay on top of my calorie intake, especially if I'm trying to maintain and gain weight. You know what I'm saying? These are great healthy options for meal prep. These are dietitian approved, fresh, never frozen. You can easily order these online. All you have to do is go to factor75.com, use my code Peyton50 for 50% off your first box. And yeah, thanks to Factor again for always sponsoring my videos and sending over some of the best meal kits that I have ever tasted in my life. No lie. I mean, I got everybody in my household eating them, so no cap. So yeah, with that being said, it's always good to have a sponsor on every video. You know, some people won't like it, but hey, you got to pay your bills. And if you are a full-time influencer, then you want to make sure that all of your videos are sponsored. It just is what it is. I mean, people watch commercials all the time. What's wrong with watching yours? Okay, so before we get to work, and I show you guys how I organize and get my workflow going and edit my footage, let's talk about some frequently asked questions that I get all of the time. And the first one is, what editing software do I use? So I use Final Cut Pro. Eventually I'm going to cross over to DaVinci because I am uploading more cinematic vlogs, and I have noticed that a lot of editors use DaVinci when it comes to movies and cinematography. So I want to switch over to DaVinci soon, but I have to get acclimated and learn that software. I'm well seasoned when it comes to Final Cut Pro, so I have not walked away from Final Cut Pro yet, but yeah, eventually I want to use an upgrade to DaVinci, but right now I use Final Cut Pro, and I'm going to show you guys how I edit using that software. Another question that I get is, what camera do I use? So I actually use a slew of different cameras. Like, I'm filming right now on my Sony A7. I love this camera, but it is huge and it is extremely expensive in terms of starting out. This is not a camera that I would recommend someone starting out, because if you're just now starting your YouTube channel and you're building and you're growing and you're trying to get subscribers and watch time and stuff like that, that would be a huge investment, as opposed to the more affordable option, which is what I use on a daily, because it's just more practical. It's not as heavy. This is the Sony EV10, and when I upgraded from the Sony ZV-1 to this, I seen a drastic change in the quality of my videos, just because of one specific feature that is on this camera that is not on the ZV-1, and that is the ability to defocus the background. Oh, game changer, because there are going to be times when you're going to be filming in public and you might have some people in your background that don't want to be on camera, and having the ZV-10 in that option blurs them out, so you can give them that comfort that they have their privacy, and you're not invading their privacy by showing your life. So that's what I love about this camera. It's also on the Sony A7 as well, but like I said, this is not my day-to-day camera. This is more sit down videos, talking to the camera, and for cinematic B-roll, right? This is my day-to-day vlogging, because I can extend it, you know, walk out with it, and so I use the Sony ZV-10. But I also use other cameras as well, like my GoPro 9. So I like to use this when I'm doing activities that require stabilization, right? So like, not walking per se, because I can pretty much stabilize, and I like the feel that you get when you're walking and the camera kind of shakes a little bit. So but riding a bike or being on a ride, or you know, this is just so small that you can, it's waterproof as well, so you can use this underwater, you can use this, you know, snorkeling, scuba diving, riding a bike, on a go-kart. Like, this is just so easier to use and less likely to damage. I mean, if this thing falls, like, you're good. Plus, you don't even have to use the tripod. You can just hold this in your hand and get a really good steady shot. So I also use my GoPro 9, but there's more. I also have the DJI Pocket. So I like to use this for B-roll. This bad boy has a built-in gimbal on it that just gives the most smooth stabilization to your footage. When I'm riding in the car, I'll stick this out the window, and I mean, I can get some great B-roll of like just the area, like scenic views and stuff like that. This is perfect for that. I wouldn't use this day to day to film myself, because I just feel like it gives iPhone quality, and if I had to choose between filming myself with this, like filming myself talking to the camera with this, or the iPhone, I probably would choose the iPhone in certain different lightings. Now in like bright light, let's say I'm on a boat, and I'm filming, you know, under like really good lighting in the sun, this is perfect because it stabilizes. That gimbal is going to stabilize the footage. So if you're going like up and down on the boat and stuff like that, you use this, you're going to get great footage. If you're on a roller coaster ride, you can use this and get great footage. But it requires like really good lighting for it to give cinematic. Otherwise, the quality of your footage is gonna look a little bad just because of the low lighting. But yeah, I use a slew of different cameras to get the shot. All right, next question that I get all the time is, what are my camera settings? So when you're in your camera settings, you want to go to movie. So it's going to be the second option in the first page. So my shoot mode is in intelligent auto. Now most cinematographers are going to tell you to shoot in manual. That's going to be M, and most times I will shoot in manual depending on the lighting. So under certain lightings, you'll start seeing those vertical lines on the screen. You're going to think something is wrong with your camera. Maybe you've dropped it too many times, and every time you drop your camera, there's going to be a little slight insecurity and PTSD that it leaves on you, because you're going to be like, oh my God, did I mess something up? No, you didn't. But there are going to be times where you're in really bad lighting and the shutter speed isn't going to be able to pick up, you know, it properly, right? So then it's best to shoot in manual mode so you can turn down the ISO, and that way those vertical lines will disappear. But that only happens under certain lighting. So when it happens, just switch over into manual mode and change your ISO settings. Next, I scroll down to file format, and I shoot in XAVC S4K. I shoot all of my videos in 4K. I upload in 4K. I edit in 4K. All of this is important in order for your videos to look like a movie and look cinematic. If you upload in 1080, it's gonna be very crisp. It's gonna be, I mean, it's going to look like it was shot with a video camera. Which is great. That quality is amazing. I love watching those vlogs. But if you want it to look like a movie and cinematic, you have to upload and edit and film in 4K. So I shoot in 4K, and my record setting is 24p at 100 m's. The thing I have to say, when you upload and film in 4K, right? When you film in 4K and you put your camera on 4K, when you go into edit and you try to put a slow-mo over a 4K clip, it's gonna look really grainy. It's not gonna be a smooth slow motion as it would if you use the S&Q settings. So that's why they have them on here on this camera, because you're just gonna get, it's just gonna be more seamless and smooth. So if you know certain parts of your footage is gonna be, when you go into edit it, if you know that you're gonna edit it in slow motion, go ahead and film it in S&Q. So my S&Q settings are XAVC SHD, 21 megapixels per second at 2.5 slow motion. So those are my settings, and that's like the most important part to your camera settings. Everything else can be pretty much however you want it. Like if you film with a different type of camera and you have picture profiles and you have like Cinetone, which this camera has, you can do a lot with your camera where you don't even have to color correct when you actually start editing. But those are my camera settings for my Sony ZV-E10. You can also use these same camera settings for your Sony ZV-1 and Sony ZV-E1, okay? Next, another frequently asked question is, where do I get my music? So for the most part, I get all of my music from SoundCloud, but every now and then I do utilize Epidemic Sounds for like my jazz music and my funny music. So there are parts in my vlogs where I feel like it's a talking portion where I'm probably gonna crack some jokes and give you a little personality and stuff like that, and I like to put funny music underneath it just because I feel like I've watched some of my vlogs in the past where I didn't have music playing under it, and it just sounds very quiet. It sounds very quiet when it's just you talking in the kitchen or sitting down talking and there's no music underneath. I highly recommend putting music underneath any videos where you're going to be just sitting in the camera and talking, because I think it helps with people who have attention deficit. It just makes it a little bit more calming to listen to and watch and things like that. So SoundCloud, Epidemic Sounds. Now, the kicker to Epidemic Sounds, I will say, is that you have to be subscribed. If you use anything off of Epidemic Sounds and you are not subscribed to Epidemic Sounds, they will copyright your videos and they will take your revenue. So if you're going to use anything off of Epidemic Sounds, you have to be subscribed, so you got to pay for it. Now, SoundCloud, on the other hand, SoundCloud does not require payment. However, you have to check everything that you get off of SoundCloud. When I say check, I mean you're going to upload a music clip, right? So you can just take any random footage that you have on your camera, bring it down, drop it down into the timeline, detach the audio or turn the volume down on that clip, and then add in your music. So the clip should be however long the music file is, right? So let's say you got a 3-minute song, then you want to add 3 minutes worth of footage. Because you can't just upload an audio file to YouTube without media, you have to have some sort of media. So you're just running a test to see if this has a copyright to it, because sometimes you're going to run into songs that you really love and you really want to use them in your videos on SoundCloud, and it has a copyright. So you have to check it each and every time. There are going to be times where you find a song that you love on SoundCloud and it's in your repertoire and you haven't used it for months, and okay, you go to drop it in your timeline because you're like, I checked this 6 months ago, it's fine, and boom, it has a copyright now. And on your other videos, no copyrights. It's the weirdest thing, but a lot of these publishing companies are picking up that DJs are making these mashups and making these remixes, and they want to make the money off of that as well. They don't want you to be able to use any material from these artists, whether it's the music, the melody, or the actual words, without them being able to get your coin. And if you're making really good money on your videos, they're gonna take it all, honey. They're not gonna leave you a dime. So that's what I mean, you need to check it each and every time, because you can have a song that you have used on 11 different videos, and then come 2024 you upload that song and it has a copyright on it, and you can fight it. But 9 times out of 10, if you fight it, let me tell you who you don't want to fight. You can fight SME, but you don't ever want to fight UMG, because UMG will take your video down. They will get you to take your video down. UMG don't play. I don't know who they have on their staff that reads their emails when it comes to YouTube copyrights, but whoever it is, baby, ma'am, don't play. It gotta be a girl. It gotta be a girl. I just feel like a man wouldn't be as diligent. Check your music each and every time before you upload it. You don't want to run the risk of uploading a video, getting a copyright, having to dispute it. It's already doing numbers and having to take it down. I just recently did that on a video. I mean, the video did well. I wasn't really happy with my thumbnail, but the video was doing well, and it was a really good video. Like, it was a really good video, and I had to delete it. This was a video that I uploaded this year. I had to delete it because I disputed it, the dispute got rejected, and then I appealed it, and they came back with a takedown request. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, do I want to like get legal involved, or do I want to just take the video down? If I get legal involved, I'll run the risk of getting a strike on my channel. I don't want that, so I'm like, whatever, I just take the video down. It is what it is. I could have always re-uploaded, but because I knew that that video wasn't going to perform well after it was already 3 weeks old, I was like, whatever. So yeah, check your music. There are times when you can dispute copyrights, but if you feel like it's not worth the trouble, then just either trim the copyright out or mute it. It is what it is. The next question that I always get, this is a highly frequently asked question because I do this in every video. It's how do I get my drone footage? Now, I actually have a drone. It is the DJI Mini drone, and I've used this many times, but you will find when you get a drone, and I say this because I don't want people wasting money on something that they're not going to be able to use. It's very easy to learn how to use drones. The gag is that you are going to find that you are not allowed to use drones in a lot of places, okay? I have went several places and they have a strict no drone policy. In St. Lucia, they had a no drone policy. In the Maldives, they had a no drone policy. In Dubai, they have a no drone policy. Everywhere that I went, when it comes to traveling, in Thailand, they had a no drone policy. So every time I got drone footage, it was because I snuck and did it. We weren't supposed to do it. I wasn't supposed to do it, but I snuck and did it. So I ran the risk of getting in trouble in these foreign countries for, I mean, I wouldn't say it was disobeying the law, but the islands had specific no-nos, and I was sneaking and doing it. So like all of the drone footage that you have ever seen on any of my videos, I snuck and did it. But the great thing about drone footage is there is a silver lining. If you want to use drone footage in your videos, they have stock footage available online that you can purchase to download and utilize in your videos if you want to, you know, create that scenic cinematic feel in your video clips as B-roll. So that's the great thing about drone footage, is that they have stock footage out there available for use. But if you want specific shots of yourself, like walking on the beach or in the water, when me and Aaliyah went to Thailand, you're gonna need a drone, your own drone for that, because of course you're not going to be able to buy stock footage with you in the drone. But yeah, I have my own drone and I get a lot of my shots, but I also use stock footage when I cannot use my drone and I'm not allowed to use my drone. And that's the great thing about the internet, because you can find drone footage and stock footage in a variety of places. You just have to look. Last and final question I get that's frequently asked is, how do I avoid copyright? I don't, sis. A lot of times, some of my videos might get copyright hit 30 days after I've uploaded the video. A lot of times that happens with Sony Music Entertainment, that's SME. I don't know why they be doing that to me, but I dispute each and every time, and most times I have won. All of the times I have won when it comes to SME. Now UMG, UMG gonna take it, girl. Good luck. Okay, yeah, I can't. There's no way to avoid copyright. A lot of times it's going to happen after the video has already done well, performed, you've got great analytics on it, and then boom, you wake up one day and it's demonetized and you're like, wait, what's going on? If you want to fight it, you totally can. If not, you know, you feel like you've already got most of the revenue that video is going to get out of it, then, you know, you could just trim it and, you know, whatever, and mute it. I've done that a couple of times in videos. After the video has been up for a while, I'm like, whatever, you know what I'm saying? It's not getting the same amount of views per hour as it was when it first uploaded, so it's really not worth the trouble of trying to dispute it just for a mashup. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so now I'm done with the frequently asked questions. Let's get to work. Okay, the first thing you need to do is know your software, because this software will eat you alive if you don't know it. So the first thing you want to do is click on your library and make sure that you are storing everything that needs to be saved on your external hard drive. How do you know this? Because you will make sure to click your external hard drive on each and every option, with the exception of your motion templates. Leave your motion templates in the motion templates folder. That's going to be your plugins and and all of your skin smoothers and things like that, but everything else needs to be saved to your hard drive. If you do not do this, it will eat your RAM up. Then after you do that, you want to click on your library again, go to File and click on the drop down menu, and you want to delete all those generated files out of your library. So you're going to click delete rendered, optimized media, and proxy. This is going to make sure that your hard drive is cleared and also your Final Cut is cleared. If you do not do this, you will see that beach ball rolling a lot and you will get all kind of mad because it's going to take forever for you to edit. So all I type in is Final Cut Pro plugins, and once you hit enter, a variety of different websites will pop up that offer all these different plugins for you to utilize, from titles to effects to different generators, YouTube packages, and you do have to pay for them in order to be able to download, but a lot of them do offer free packages for certain things, and so these are where you can get the plugins to add to your Final Cut Pro. So when you see these pop-ups pop up on the screen that's telling you to subscribe and like the video, these are where that I got them from. They're basically plugins that I added to my Final Cut Pro. These do not come with Final Cut Pro software. You have to purchase these plugins separately, but they are going to be extremely useful for you in order to be interactive with your audience and enhance your editing. Okay, so on to color correction, which I feel is extremely important. When you drag and drop a file into your timeline, you always want to color correct before you do anything to the footage. You always want to color correct. So as you can see, looking at the footage coming straight off the SD card out of the camera, it has a very warm tone to it. When I color correct, I like to use my FCP effects, and I've made presets to how I like my videos to look. So I like cool toned videos. So as you can see, as soon as I add that preset onto it, it changed and removed the yellow hue out of the video, and it's now more of a cool tone hue as opposed to the warm tones. And you can do this and get this preset for yourself by using the auto white balance while you're in the car, and then save it as a preset. Now if you look and see here, when I drag and drop this clip, you can see how it's more of a warm tone, but as soon as I add in that car preset, it changes it to a cool tone, so you can see the difference. So as you can see, one of the most important things about color correction is making sure you get, the accurate colors from your footage. You never want to upload a video straight off your SD card without color correcting, because you want to pull out the pinks, the greens, the saturation, and you want to correct the hues of the video. Another tip that I like to do is adding overlayers to certain clips, especially when I'm doing my intros and my B-rolls. So you can add in this solid white overlay and then decrease that opacity, and it will add kind of like a cloudy film over it to soften. And then you can add a title over this. This will be great for using as intros, B-rolls, or even openings for your vlogs. Like when I do my vlogs, I tend to do like weekly vlogs, and I'll put a motion picture by Peyton Charles. This is when I tend to do this. I can even do this over drone footage and things like that to just give it more of a cinematic feel. After you've found a good plug-in to get some good title packages, you want to drag and drop one of those titles over that overlay, and that's where you're going to put weekly vlog and any type of subtext that you want to use. And in this portion on this side, you can also change the size of the font, change the color of the font, and basically customize it how you want. So just because the title is in a certain type of font, it doesn't mean it has to stay that way. You have the ability to customize it and make it look the way you want. Another trick that I like to do when editing is adding 2 of the same clips, and then I'll scale one down and add a different overlayer on the bottom clip to give it a different effect. So I tend to do this a lot when I'm doing my nail vlogs and I get my nails done, because a lot of times when I get the footage for my nails, it doesn't cover the screen completely. So what I'll do is I'll copy and then I'll paste and I'll put one above the other, scale it down, and then I'll add in a clip like bad TV or 50s TV or retro TV. And as you can see, once you scale it down, you'll see that other one in the background, and you can add more effects onto it to give it more of a different feel. And so I like to do this a lot in my vlogs as well. If you really want to amp up your intros, you can also just leave the clip by itself and add bad TV. One of the great things that I love about the bad TV option or any of these plugins is that you can adjust the settings to it. So if you want it to be more blue noise or pink noise or white noise, if you want to roll the screen, you can do that and make it look more cinematic. Okay, so realistically, most days when I'm editing, I'm right here in my kitchen on my island, editing on my laptop, because that is where Final Cut Pro is located that works. It no longer works on my iMac because I updated it, and it's just, that's why I'm like, I gotta update to DaVinci and start using DaVinci. So most recently I've been doing all of my editing on my MacBook Pro. And so after you have made your project, you want to drag and drop everything into the timeline. After you import all of your footage from your SD card, of course. I'm pretty sure you guys know all of that because that is the basics to editing, so y'all don't need to know how to do all that. But if you do, leave it in the comments and I'll do a more detailed, like from start to finish. But I'm thinking that you guys already have a basic knowledge of how to edit, so the important process and getting the footage off of your SD card, I feel like that's self-explanatory. So once you've dragged and dropped everything into your timeline, that's when you want to start editing. Now, like I said, the commands that you're going to use in Final Cut Pro, Command B is to split and cut the footage. Command Z is to undo. Command C is to copy, and Command V is to paste. And while you're utilizing this and editing like a pro, those are the commands that you're going to use all of the time. That's what you're going to basically use. Command C, Command Z, Command V, and Command B. That's it. There are other commands, and you can also edit your commands to how you want in your keyboard, but because this is how I learned when I first started editing in iMovie, if you know how to edit basic, if you know basic editing in iMovie, then you can convert that over to Final Cut Pro and go crazy, okay? So once you've dragged and dropped everything into your timeline, that's when you can start editing. So one thing that you want to do when you're editing your videos is to edit out whenever you're rattling the camera or turning the camera around. So let's say if you're like focusing in on something with the camera facing forward, but then you want to turn it around and now it's facing back towards you. You want to edit all of that part out that you're turning the camera around. In order for your vlogs to have that cinematic quality, you have to remove the scrap footage, and that's scrap footage, right? Like, people don't need to see you moving your camera from here to another angle. People don't need to see you turning your camera around or physically hearing you set your camera down. Edit all of that out so it can just flow seamlessly as if you had a production crew in the studio with you with 5 to 6 different cameras, okay? So edit all of that out. Once you've done that and you're starting to work on your B-roll and adding your music, Adding music is really easy. So basically what I do is I go into the trash. I mean, you don't have to go into the trash, but this is how I do it. I go into the trash and then I go into my external hard drive. I have so much music here, so I basically go from newest to oldest, right? And then I would take a song and drag and drop it into the timeline, right? So once I've dragged and dropped it into the timeline, I want to basically edit the footage to the beat of the song. And so on this particular vlog, I use SZA, Shawty's a 10 mashup, right? And what I did was I pretty much just made sure that every time I cut the clip and it went to a different angle or a new clip of footage, that it was on beat with the song. That's how you're gonna do your B-roll. Your B-roll does not have to be that long. Back in the day when I first started vlogging, I would use the whole song, baby. If I got a mashup, I would try to use the whole song and my B-roll would be long as hell. But now I try to keep my B-roll at like 45 seconds to a minute because it doesn't have to be that long. Plus you also protect yourself from getting copyright with using less of the music, right? Another thing that I like to do in my specific vlogs is kind of start the beginning of the music in the previous clip where I'm still talking. So if I'm getting ready to make a point, right? Like, let's say in this particular clip, I say, I don't share men. Like if you dating a man that I'm talking to, then you know you can have him. I don't share. So I'm gonna start the music to the next clip, to that B-roll footage. I'm gonna start it like right at the end of me talking. That way it flows seamlessly into that B-roll, and I try to find a song that's close to what I'm talking about so it can make sense and kind of help tell the story. Another thing that I like to do is use drone footage to help tell the story. It gives more of a cinematic feel to the vlog, and it also helps introduce the next clip. So whilst I do use drone footage in the beginning of my vlogs to kind of give a scenic vibe of where I currently am in the vlog, like what city I'm in, I will also add more footage throughout the vlog to kind of introduce the next scene. So if it's going to be a night scene where I'm getting ready for bed, then I might add like a nighttime view of the city to kind of tell the story of like what the next scene is going to be. That way I'm not cutting from a daytime scene and then to a nighttime scene without any backstory of what happened in between. You know what I'm saying? It just helps tell the story a little bit better. Alright, so that is pretty much how I edit like a pro. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comment box below. I think I've covered everything from color correction, drones, camera I use, plugins, where to find music. But if I left anything out, because this was kind of a rushed video, and like I said, I went off of the preface that you guys already have a basic knowledge of editing using iMovie and things like that. So if I left anything out, please leave your questions in the comment box below, and I will try to map out a more detailed version of this and record something that I feel like is less rushed and more in depth of like how to edit like a pro. But I hope that this helped you all a lot and answered a lot of your questions. If I did, please give me a thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe. Also check out some of my vlogs, and I will see you guys in the next video soon.